if you would kindly introduce yourselves, I'd appreciate it.
Go ahead.
John and Kandee, Crystal River, Florida.
And you have a solar system that was recently installed on your home here in Crystal River. And if you'd be so kind as to just give me just an overview of what motivated you to even consider solar.
I am a hippie from the 70s, so I wanted to save the world. And it seems almost criminal not to make use of solar since we've got so much sun power here. The cost was a factor for many years. Mm-hmm. And I also knew that it was a complex industry, and there was a lot to understand about the panels and how it works and the type of power and so forth. John's very good at research, so I knew he would do that part. And I recently had an inheritance from my sister, and hence money wasn't an issue any longer. So then John started the research.
I gotcha. And John, so then what research did you do on this?
Well, actually, we were contacted by 2 or 3 companies, had them come in, run through their presentation. Basically, that was the research.
Right, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, you did search things on the computer. You were
Yeah.
typical investigative.
Sure. And so did you determine the size of system you would need, or did the salespeople, how did that come about for you?
They calculated what we needed, and then there was a change in the panel size, which reduced that amount. And I wasn't happy with that, and I added an extra panel to be sure we were above what we needed.
I gotcha.
And since then, we haven't used any power off the grid for the last 4 months that we've been up and running fully.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So you've had your system for about 5 months or something like that,
Yes.
as far as it being activated, correct?
Correct.
And since that time, I believe I understand that your bill went from what it was, which I don't know what that was right off the top.
The highest about 170, maybe the highest ever.
About the highest of 170, and it went down to be only the connectivity fee, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
So that's around $20 a month?
Over 40.
Oh, 40, that's right. You're with Lacucci
Co-op,
and their connectivity fee is $40 a month.
Right.
So your electric bill at the onset of turning on the system went from a high of 170 to only being that $40 connected fee from the utility itself, correct?
Correct.
And this is also inclusive of, this is all the electricity of your home for just living, and I believe you have an electric car, correct?
Yes. So now it's free to charge the car.
So you literally are charging your car off of your solar system and everything.
And everything.
And your home, your air conditioning and everything is coming from your solar system, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And so that's a huge savings, it sounds to me like what's going on here. Have you calculated any amounts of savings for yourself by any chance?
Well, for 2 months I was able to calculate what we were putting back into the grid. Mm-hmm. It was over 500 kilowatt hours the first month, and then 370 something the second month. I haven't done anything lately, and it's interesting because you're looking at the meter, and usually the meter goes up, and this you have to subtract from that meter every month to see how much you're giving back to them.
Mm-hmm. And so, yes.
Yeah, so actual dollar savings, we haven't calculated anything because, as John mentioned, the high would have been 170, whether it was the air conditioning or the heating in the winter.
Right.
I'd say the average bill that we typically would pay would be under $100.
Oh, okay.
And I know that most of the presentations are focused on the fact that people are paying $300 or $400 a month for electric, and they're making the presentation that if they're financing the system for 25 years at $145, what a big savings that is. That wasn't what was appealing to us because we bought the system outright. But we were, so the focus wasn't the fact that we were paying a lot in electricity. The focus was, what if with Lakuchi goes belly up and some other company takes it over, and then we would be faced with $400 a month bills when we're 85.
Well, the other thing too is electricity is not going down. It's going to be going up every year. So, you know, we've stopped that right now.
Yeah, right. You just bring that to a halt because it's just everything is just as stable as it can be right now.
Right.
Because you are gaining all of your energy through the sun, and so you don't have to worry about the cost of living increases or any kind of other kind of situations with the utility company, other than some connectivity fees or something potentially, you know, going on. And so you've been able. Go right ahead.
The other factor was the life expectancy of the panels that typically are 20 or 25 years for the warranties and the life expectancy, and I'm anticipating we might not have to replace the panels, that we will be gone. Because if we had done this 20 years ago, then it might have been a factor to consider, well, we'll have to replace that too, and that's going to be, you know, a double expense later on. So at this age and stage, it was a wise investment.
I gotcha. I understand. Absolutely. Okay, so you obviously have everything going on your roof now, and things have been installed, and but I'd like to move back to your interactions with the PPM Solar in particular. If you could give me some idea of, you know, the guys coming out here, and also the permitting process. I realize there's a lot of moving parts in installing solar. How did that go for you, though? I mean, did they meet the timelines that they were promising you, things like that?
That's a good
You
question.
had more interaction. I was impressed that they weren't as intense with the financing part of it. That they had more practical information about the size of the panels, the type of panels, the workmanship, the history of solar, and were more knowledgeable in that regard.
Okay.
I am not a real stickler as far as timeline, so whatever time it takes, and what all the processes that have to happen, there's a lot of a cast of characters involved that nobody has any control over. But they were very efficient and very upfront about all the stages that needed to happen. They were prompt when they needed to make the appointments to come out here and do anything, and everybody was professional and enjoyable and seemed like they liked what they were doing, and it wasn't just that they cared.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that they really cared about
so you
the
felt like
system to begin with.
So yes.
There was a delay, but it was our fault. When we added the extra panel, we had to recalculate the layout on the roof.
Right.
And it was better because we were able to balance the panels better after the thing. And of course that means you had to be re-permitted. So the delay that we suffered was our own doing. So.
Oh, I gotcha. I understand. Okay. So, all right. And then, so how would you describe your overall experience of having gone solar? I mean, gone through this process and now at the end, you know, now reaping the benefits of that. I mean, can you give me some general idea of?
Well, now that it's up and running, there's nothing to even consider. It's just there. It's doing its job. There's no maintenance or anything that we need to do. So yeah, once it's set in motion, you just sit back and enjoy the free energy.
Gotcha. Yeah. So overall, you see it as a good experience, a good decision. It sounds like.
Yes, people need to be aware. It's not. It's not bing bang, you want solar, and next week it's up.
Right.
So people need to prepare in that regard. And I would think that they should be very well informed about the quality of the panels and the way it works. They should really educate themselves so they're not disappointed.
Right. So they make sure they get the right panel sizes and everything established to accomplish whatever the offset that they were seeking. And you folks were apparently seeking a full offset of your power is what I'm gathering
Yes.
here, because your system is 10.8 kilowatt system. That's 10.8 size system on your home, correct?
Right, something like that.
Yeah. And that's about an average size, to be honest with you, for a home like your size. And so it's exciting to know that you're actually able to run your car and everything. That's really quite amazing. So would you recommend PPM Solar then?
Sure.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a good experience.
It was a good experience. Great. That probably will do for today then.